great morning to you. Thank God it's Friday and welcome to another wonderful time, another wonderful breakfast show on the radio, your favorite radio station, Splash 105.5 FM. We are reaching you live from the big borough city called Ibadan, the capital of Oyo State. Hope you're doing great this morning. And I hope you had a restful night and, of course, ready to start the weekend. We're definitely ready. And I'm sure that if you join us today, we'll definitely put you in the weekend spirit. I'm Ronke Giwa Onafuwa, and I'm your host this morning on your favorite breakfast show on the radio. It's the Morning Splash. And, of course, today we're kicking off looking at the stories making headlines in Nigerian newspapers. I will be tracking news stories for you from the different newspapers in Nigeria. And of course, we'll be taking your reactions and comments, howbeit text messages only. So you can text us with any of your thoughts and reactions, and you can tweet as well. So if you're on Twitter, please follow us. We want you to please follow us. Thank you. Please and thanks. And then, of course, you can share your reactions and comments. All right. Like I said, you can also text this morning to the number 08056998678. We look forward to seeing your messages. All right. Within this breakfast show as well, we've got Beyond the Surface, where later on we'll be talking about secession. The word secession has become very, obviously more popular in these days, while a few people have been calling for, secession in certain areas in Nigeria. We'll be looking at some of the downsides, the cons of secession later on. So make sure to join us, because we'll be opening phone lines as well as talking to a lawyer who'll be looking at the Constitution and what he says about secession. All right. In the meantime, there are quite a number of interesting stories in the papers this morning. And from the Tribune newspaper, there's, of course, COVID-19 updates where Nigeria has recorded 83 new COVID-19 infections. 83 new COVID-19 infections. So please do continue to take precaution wherever it is you're listening to us from. Also in the papers this morning, kidnapped Redeemed Christian Church of God members have regained freedom, says Pastor Adeboye. That's definitely great news this morning. Also in the papers this morning, National Sports Festival continues as planned. This is according to the federal government. Now, PDP shifts Southwest Zonal Congress to April 12, moves it from Ibadan to Oshogbo. PDP shifts Southwest Zonal Congress to April 12, moves it from Ibadan to Oshogbo. Here, the ACF is saying we still believe in dialogue. That is from the Tribune newspaper, and we'll be back. But let's take a look at some headlines from the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Here's another police station attack. 2 officers injured, no officer missing or kidnapped. That is according to the police. According to the police there. And here, Igongon. How headsmen macheted retired school principal. That's also in the Vanguard newspaper. Also in the papers, Oshibajo, Patience, Jonathan, Tinubu, Orubebe, Oni, Sultan, honor Aisha Buhari at her book launch. We all know that this took place a couple of days ago, I believe, and where the Vice President Yemi Oshibajo, the Deputy President of the Senate, Ovie Omar Gege, Dr. Patience Jonathan, former First Lady of Nigeria, National Leader of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, and former Minister of Niger Delta Affairs under President Goodluck Jonathan were among the dignitaries that honored First Lady Aisha Buhari at the presentation of her book, Aisha Buhari Being Different. The book being authored by Hajo Sani, Senior Special Assistant to the President on Administration and Women Affairs, is being launched at the Banquet Hall, Presidential Villa, Abuja. Also present at the event, chaired by Shiwaju Tinubu Adeoni of Ife, Imperial Majesty Adeyeye Ogunwusi, the Sultan of Sokoto was also present. Also wife of former Vice President Amina Sambo and Chairman of Nigeria Governors Forum and Governor of Ekiti, Dr. Kayode Fayemi, amongst others. All right, so also in the papers this morning, from the Vanguard newspaper as well, interesting stories here. Aisha Buhari's controversial posture endears her to Nigerians. This is Oshibajo Tinubu, still on the First Lady's book. All right, also in the papers this morning, insecurity tension mounts in Igbo, Abia, Rivers. This is also in the papers this morning. All right, let's take a quick look at the Punch newspaper. Kidnap epidemic, gunmen abduct 18, Ogun, Oyo, Rivers, Imo, Katsina. And obviously this has become a problem. It is obviously because of problems like this that a few people are calling for secession in one area, in one way or the other. And obviously until the government can, get a hold on some of this misdemeanor and some of this issues that are affecting the country. We always see people who feel like they can do better without the country. Let's take a deeper look at this story. Kidnappers on Thursday struck in Ogun, Rivers, Imo and Katsina State, abducting 12 people barely 24 hours after the new Acting Inspector General of Police, Al-Kali Baba, vowed to battle banditry and other crimes. Reports by Punch correspondents show that between Wednesday night and Thursday, 2 persons were abducted in Ogun State, 8 in Imo State, Rivers State 1 and 1 Katsina State. In Oyo State on Thursday, hunters and vigilantes told the correspondents that they had started combing forests for 6 people kidnapped in different parts of the state on Tuesday night. The IGP, shortly after assuming office at the force headquarters, Abuja, on Wednesday, promised to confront terrorism, banditry, kidnapping, and secessionist agitations. On Wednesday night in Ogun State, which has witnessed increased spate of kidnappings, a medical doctor and a nurse were kidnapped on the Abeokuta-Imeko road, where 2 fufu sellers were abducted 2 months ago. The Dr. Oladuni Odetola, who is the head of State General Hospital in Meko in the Mekwafon local government area, and the nurse, identified as Mrs. Bangbushi, were kidnapped barely 23 hours after 2 Chinese nationals who were abducted a week ago at Oba were freed. A correspondent gathered that the medical personnel were abducted by gunmen while driving in a Toyota Camry Muscle along Abeokuta in Meko Road. It was learned that the gunmen emerged from a bush at Ulubo village and attacked the health workers. The sources told the Punch correspondent that the doctor's car was left at the middle of the road, where it was discovered by the police. All right, also in the papers this morning, drop your presidential bid, go for APC chairmanship. This is a headline in the Punch newspaper. Also, federal government approves 20 private varsities, says existing 197 too small. And bear in mind that obviously not all 197 are even functioning. A few of them are just functioning on paper. So some people have said that the federal government is trying to commercialize education in Nigeria. What are your thoughts? We've talked about this before. Now, the federal government on Thursday said the 197 universities in Nigeria were too small, given the country's growing population, which presently stood at over 200 million. The Minister of Education, Malam Adamu, represented by the Minister of State for Education, Chukwuemeka Nwajuba, stated this during the presentation of provisional licenses to 20 newly approved private universities by the National Universities Commission. With the approval, Nigeria now has 99 private universities and a total of 197 universities, private and public. In relation to Nigeria's population of over 200 million, the current 193 universities is quite low when compared to those of other economies such as Brazil with 209 million. Population, of course, and 441 universities. Mexico, with a population of 126 million, with 375 universities. Russia, with a population of 145 million, with 741 universities. In 2019, the Joint Admissions and Matriculations Board announced that out of over 1.8 million candidates registered for the Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination, only 612,000 were admitted. were admitted in Nigerian universities, representing 34%. This shows gross inadequacy in terms of access. The above scenario indicates that Nigeria needs more universities. What do you think about that? I really am curious as to know what your thoughts are on this. A lot of people argue that if you're creating more private universities, all in the name of the population, how much of the population can afford these private universities that you're licensing? How much? And then some people argue that, hey, you know what, if you go to other same climes as well, I mean, education is not as cheap as it is in Nigeria, in the federal universities, some state universities are still quite expensive, but the arguments for and against. So if you want to text in real quickly, would love to hear your views. This is something that's been a debate for such a long time. Some people, like I said, have called it commercializing education in Nigeria. So a lot more people, especially in this year or last year during the pandemic, and especially as public universities were on strike, a lot more people they didn't want to, but had to go to private universities, had to send their awards to private universities, not because that was what they wanted. They were willing to, wait to an extent for the public university. But obviously, since that didn't happen, they had to send their awards to. But then for as many as want or can only afford the public universities, I mean, what are their options? If we're talking about the strikes, the unending strikes, and the fact that, the lack of infrastructure in these universities, it is quite demoralizing. All right, so you can text us real quickly on 080-5699-8678. Would love to hear your thoughts on these issues. And of course, if you want to join us at 8 o'clock, we'll be talking about the dangers of secession. We'd love to hear your thoughts and your views as well. All right, number to call is 080-5699-8678. 080-5699-8678. All right, you can text us real quickly, or if you're on Twitter, do share your thoughts and contributions with us on the story that resonates with you the most. All right, if there's a story that resonates personally with you, I would love you to share your thoughts real quickly. And our Twitter handle is @SplashFM1055. @SplashFM1055. Share your thoughts and your contributions, and of course we'll be glad to read it out. All right, okay, in the meantime, let's take a few more headlines real quickly from the stories making headlines. As we hear, obviously more people are taking the vaccines all across the world. More people are getting vaccinated against the COVID-19, and of course there have been a lot of issues with regards to the vaccines. Some countries have had to stop the vaccination due to certain side effects that they say have been recorded. Here there's a story on this one that says AstraZeneca, which actually is the one that Nigerians are taking. The AstraZeneca vaccine blood clot risk, very rare. This is according to an EU regulator. A lot of people have said, in some countries, they have seen some side effects like the blood clot, which has made a lot more people more skeptical about taking the vaccine. Now, the EU's medicines regulator said on Wednesday that blood clots should be listed as a rare side effect of the AstraZeneca jab, but the benefits continue to outweigh risk as several countries battle fresh virus surges and vaccine shortfalls. A number of nations have suspended the use of AstraZeneca's vaccine for younger populations after it was earlier banned outright in several places over blood clot scares. Now, the United Kingdom on Wednesday said it will adopt a new medical advice to offer most people under 30, an alternative to AstraZeneca, if possible, after reporting 19 deaths from clots among people who received the shot. The debate comes as countries from Germany to Ukraine and India face new waves of the virus that has now killed more than 2.8 million people. Governments are scrambling to secure much-needed vaccine doses, with Australia the latest nation to complain of shortages that it blamed on EU export controls. All right, so hopefully that will make someone who's a little cynical about getting vaccinated, give them, more cause to relax, and obviously to no cause for not much cause for concern. The side effect, as they've said, the blood clot risk, very, very rare, as opposed to the millions of people that obviously dying across the world. All right. Also in this in the headlines this morning, as we round off, in the Vanguard newspaper, here's the Vanguard newspaper. Bandits must be wiped out because they've lost rights to live. El Rufai insists bandits must be wiped out as they've lost rights to live. Governor Nasir El Rufai of Kaduna State has said bandits terrorizing Nigeria have lost their rights to life under the constitution and must be wiped out. He also said a situation where security agencies only responded to incidents of banditry was unacceptable. The government stated this at a town hall meeting on national security organized by the Ministry of Information and Culture held in Kaduna, with the theme setting benchmark for enhanced and national unity in Nigeria. He said the bandits are at war with Nigeria and there's no other way to approach the current insurgency but for security forces to take the war to the bandits and recover forests where they are occupying. On that note, we'll wrap up today's edition of Straight from the Dailies, the bonus edition. We thank you for listening and we thank you for contributing as well. Join us at 8 o'clock when we have more time. We'll go beyond the surface of some of the issues that we've raised here on Straight from the Dailies, and of course focus on our secession and the call for secession from some parties in Nigeria, and of course if that were to happen, what the likely outcome would be. So make sure to join me at 8. I'm Ronke Giwa Onafuwa.
Splash FM 105.5.